And we'll jump into it by going into negotiations. So we talked about this, and I'm very curious to get some feedback from you guys from Tuesday. Tuesday, we talked about value-based pricing, and we basically said that hourly pay is nuts. And it comes down to the very simple reasoning that you can get more by charging the percentage of the client or knowing what the client is worth based on visual, based on the number of employees in their business, whether or not they have a brick and mortar business, if they actually have a place that is physically a place of rent that they're renting from, and you can find out or get a good estimate of how much they're paying per month based on the rent of their business, how much they have to pay by starting at minimum wage or higher based on the employees, the number of employees, and you can kind of guess how much they're making per month, and then from there we kind of go into the value. Okay. And so I wanted to get your opinions on that, guys. Like, what do you think about that? Like, what are your thoughts? And maybe someone has had an opportunity to maybe do a value, or maybe you got a project, or someone came up to you and is just beginning to ask you questions about maybe doing a project, and they might include some money in that equation. If you have a notice of that, or you have some thoughts or questions, you can give me a little thumbs up, or you can type in the chat if you actually seen that happen. But I'm curious to know, has anyone dealt with this, and or you think you're about to step into this this fall? And if that is you, you can maybe give me a little thumbs up emoji. I'm curious to see who might be stepping into this or potentially stepping into it, because it could be helpful. Okay, so we got a couple of folks out there that might be stepping into that. Okay, so then if you are, then this is going to be helpful for you. Okay, if you guys are working, and let's say you are at a place of business, okay, then this lesson was helpful, I believe, because it allows you to kind of see or give you a ballpark if the owner or your manager is pricing things appropriately. If you know there's business coming in, now you know probably the best way or the better way to do it, if that makes sense. And by doing that is pricing the client based on their worth, okay? And so it takes some time, it takes a little bit of practice, but you can get there. And just what I'm seeing here, commissions is one. So if you do commissions on projects, then price it out according to value. That's a great way of doing that, right? If you work with someone, you can also kind of tell if they're pretty good at business, if they're basing or charging based on value, okay? So whether you want to have your own business or do freelance projects on the side, online, let's say through Instagram or TikTok or whatever the current social media platform is, or if you just work for someone and you're just curious to know potentially how they commission or get paid for the projects that you're working on creatively, then value-based pricing is probably one of the best ways of doing that and get the most bang for your buck, okay? I've seen people charge $60,000 for packaging projects and be told and hear later that their competitors charge $100,000 to do design for packaging on food, let's say. So prices go far and vast, and you could even do projects starting out like at your level for $1,000+ and work your way up from there, right? But either way, you'll know real quick who values the work that you do and who's basically pricing you according to your price, basically. So that's just a couple of things that I wanted to say about that, okay? So hopefully this will help you, this content will help you. 4 steps, if I had to break it down to principles, there's really like 4 principles I like to go to price a client. One is to calculate how much they have, right? So that's based on number of employees, we were saying. If they have a place of business, you can quickly Google what the rent could be and sort of ballpark what their take home or how much money they should be generating to pay for the rent, right? Number 2 is that you want to be kind of like a doctor, or as a few said, maybe like a functional doctor, where you talk about like their systems, their processes, and really ask them like what the symptoms are and get to the root cause of their problem, right? We were saying that some of the most common things that businesses suffer from are things like they can't scale quickly enough. They don't know how to generate customers. They don't know how to keep those customers. They don't know how to advertise to those customers. Almost half the problems comes down to generating customers, keeping those customers, and when the business starts to grow, they don't know how to sustain and maintain the scaling of the business, right? So, or competition comes in and they don't know how to compete or level up their competition, right? And all those things can be resolved using design, in my opinion, right? Design can be used to graphically, or it can be a method to solve a problem creatively. Either way, you win, right? So it's I always try to get my students to think like designers in terms of business, or as a business method, okay? And some of you guys are saying things too. Family thinks you're undercharging. It says I'm seeing here, stressing over prices, if you're undercharging or not. Now you know what the ballpark is. Now you know what you should be charging, and that's a positive. That's a valuable thing. So good job there. Okay. So no hourlies. Okay. We charge by how much the customer's worth. Okay. Close the deal. We talked about that at number 3. Closing the deal basically means they talk, they sell, and we saw that with James. So James and I, we did our role play. James did all the selling for himself. He just told me everything that I wanted to hear, right? So you have to ask those open-ended questions like, why did you choose me? Why'd you call the most expensive person? And notice that I always added expensive, right? Most people say, why'd you call me? But I throw in why would you call the expensive guy? Why would you call the most strategic one? Why would you, maybe you want to rethink this because, we're not the cheapest option in town, right? And even so, I'm doing 2 things simultaneously, right? I'm asking him why he wants me, and he's telling himself that, which means he's selling me to himself subconsciously. And I'm also playing the sort of hard to get, letting him know, like, why would you go with the expensive option, right? I'm trying to help you out, which is so counterintuitive, right? Why would you help your customer find a cheaper option? Well, because 1, I want to know if they're cheap or not, and 2, I want to know why they chose me, which increases the price of my value, which increases the price of and validates the number I'm about to drop, which is really big. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like 2 things happening at the same time, and that makes a huge difference. That process has saved me losing money, because sometimes when I say those things, sometimes there's no deal. And some of you guys are going to see that. You might have a scenario tonight that you will have no deal and they walk away, and that's okay. You still win, right? Because if they don't value you, then they weren't for you to begin with, right? So you want to also walk away from that deal and be willing to walk away from it if they don't value your numbers, okay? And don't get me wrong, there's only one exception, and the exception is if you desperately need the money and you got to pay rent tomorrow, or you have no money for groceries or food, then take the job, right? Right? If it's survival versus nothing, then take the job. But next time, go higher on your value. Okay. So I do understand there is a little bit of a survival moment, but try to increase your prices with every customer that you meet in order to go in that direction. Does that make sense? So, that's the idea. So yeah, you want to make the client feel like they need to be truly confident in you, not the other way around. And you definitely want them to just understand where you're coming from and understand that you are valuable, right? And that all starts with telling yourself that, okay? Commission. So you guys have some stories here, right? I did have to tell a client to take his money elsewhere because he would not respect my guidelines and my commission. It would make me extremely uncomfortable. Okay, that's great. And that's awesome, Precious. That's good that you actually have a boundary. Some people don't, and some people have a hard time of saying no. And we talked about that too. We said that you have to decide if you're going to be a people pleaser versus a peacemaker. And you have to get to the peacemaker and be like, I'm charging you this price because it's the right thing to do for what I need for living in the state of California, for making, putting away money in my savings, for basically have a life and not stay up working crazy all hours of the night, right? You want to have a life. And so that means you have to charge high prices. We'll talk about statistics and demographics. There's the chart of age versus designers through time. A lot of people start off young, and in time, as they get older, it starts to decline. Why is that? I have one theory is that people just don't know how to sustain, build a business, charge a lot, keep going, right? And so that might be a factor. Okay. Number 4, last part of the process is you talk about your process. Okay. And that whole process is, like I did with James, we go through exploration, we go through various stages, we do samples of the art, we deliver, you decide, we make changes, and we come back and forth. It's the whole design process. So the more details you are about your process, as you'll learn in class, the better off you'll be, okay? So just wanted to give you those kind of like quick nuts and bolts, quick review about what those value-based pricing steps are, okay? So tonight, we're gonna be working on the negotiations. So we're actually gonna jump in and use this sheet to kind of practice those negotiations. So we're gonna be going into breakout rooms in a few minutes, and you're going to be placed with another person. And in those rooms, you're going to do what James and I did. One person is going to play the business owner or coffee shop owner, okay? And you're going to decide if you are a coffee shop owner who is a price buyer, so very picky about price, or indecisive, unsure about how you want to proceed, and need to, and you're just uncertain as to how the process is going to go. You could be the know-it-all buyer that knows that what exactly needs to be done, but you still want a discount or a hookup, or you can be the value buyer where you're sort of like really pressed for time and it's worth the money, okay? So you're gonna pick that role, as it were, and then kind of set that up, okay? So I'm gonna kind of generate a random list of people that are gonna play the coffee shop owner, and then the other group will be the designers, and then we'll have you guys sort of demo that from there, okay? So let me just go ahead and see who that is going to be, or better yet, I'll have you guys decide. One person will, when you go into your breakout rooms, we'll have one person decide to be the owner and the other person be designer, okay? And you can flip. If you get done early, you can flip roles and kind of play the opposite and see if you make a deal or no deal. But when you do, you want to use this sheet during the negotiation. And hopefully you have those sheets. If anyone needs it, it is in the Canvas system under closing the deal. But let me give you a copy of it just right now so that you have it. And so then that way you can pull it up right now on your chat, okay? So I'm gonna give that link to you momentarily, okay? So anyone with the link can see it, and then we kind of go from there. Okay. Once we're done, we're gonna come back, and when we come back, we're going to give everyone time to work on their assignments, okay? This class is a lab, so I am cutting down my lecture time so that you guys can do work during class, okay? So you will have time tonight to do those assignments, okay? So we're gonna do the value-based pricing exercise together. We're gonna work together on this exercise. So we're gonna do that together so you can run through the process, okay? And I'm gonna give you guys obviously time to work on your habits exercise, which is very quick, very easy. So you're gonna have a little bit of that tonight to work on it as well, okay? So tonight's definitely gonna be a let me work on my stuff, professor, and stop talking night, so that we can actually get back to half the lecture. Technically the class is half lecture, half lab. So I talk for half, you work for the other half. And I'm trying to cut that number down even shorter, right? So that we have more time to work in class, ask questions, and start building up from there, okay? So that's gonna be our form, and we'll set you up. Okay, let me go ahead and drop the link there for you guys so that we can practice, kind of recap, and then give you guys some time to work, turn in some assignments, get you some points, and have a good kickoff to the rest of the semester, okay? So here is our script. how to close the deal script. And you can click onto that link and you can just pull from it on your screen if you want. Okay, so that's going to be helpful. I will hopefully ask you guys to be on screen if you can. So if you, when you get into your breakout rooms, please make sure to turn on your cameras for a moment and see each other, negotiate, say hi, introduce yourself, build some community, okay? You never know, you might just meet your future business partner tonight, right? So, or someone that is gonna challenge you a lot in your career. Either or, you're gonna win at the end of the day, okay? So did everyone get a copy and do they see this sheet on their screens at some point, okay? Okay, like we did with James, okay? You don't have to ask word for word. Try to say it in your own way, your own style, in your own format, and just try to find the most natural way to do that, okay? And it will be rough and it will be kind of awkward to begin. So I'll just say that right now. I've been to these. They can be a little awkward sometimes. So either way, just try the best that you can. Have some fun with it. Laugh, cry, whatever you need to. Okay, and then we'll kind of close in. But you will see me jump from different rooms and kind of observing from afar. Okay, and if you have questions, we'll go from there. All right, let me go ahead and start building up our breakout rooms, and we'll have a little bit of practice with negotiation. Okay. All right, so how many do we have in class tonight? We currently have, with myself, that's 21, perfect. So we're gonna get 10 breakout rooms, 2 in each room. So 2 participants per room. And we will, let's see, trying to decide if I wanna assign you guys. We're gonna do an automatic. We'll see how you guys do if we generate it. And once it's created, we'll have you guys go into those spaces and decide, are you going to be coffee shop owner or are you going to be the designer? Okay. All right, guys, let me see if I can get some room. Oh yeah, let me see if I can time this out. I want to make sure we have enough time as well. So let me format the times. Okay, recreate breakout rooms, assign automatically. And I'm going to set up, let's do 7 minutes. Maybe, I think 7 minutes would be good. Take about 2 minutes to say hi, introduce yourself, and just kind of share, and then we'll kick off after that. We'll give you a 60-second countdown, and to return to the main session, move all the samples into breakout rooms. Okay, I'm gonna move you guys automatically to those rooms. Again, 2 minutes, say hi, take the remaining half to negotiate and pick who you want to be. All right, guys, good luck. We'll see you in a few. Okay, I will be going to different rooms now and joining them momentarily. Okay. Angel, did you just join us right now?
No, I joined earlier, but my Zoom crashed before we started.
Oh, okay. So we have 21. So we have an even number and we're about 2 more minutes away. So let me we can do a little bit of practice if that helps. Did you get the script? Did you get a chance to review it and see what
Yeah,
it's all about?
I got the chance to get the script, but after that, I just my Zoom just turned off.
Okay, no worries. So why don't we do a quick run for like 3 minutes with the time that we have, or actually, Eric, you just joined us. Did your Zoom just fail during the sessions, or Eric? Actually, we have a couple of new folks. So let's do this. So Angel, Eric, I'll have you guys negotiate. Are your mics working right now by any chance?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And then Eric, how's your mic working? Can you talk through it? Okay, so that's not gonna work. Okay, so then let's set you up. Okay, how's the camera working, Eric? Let's take a look. So it's not working at all tonight? Okay. Well, let's just go ahead and Angel, we'll go at it, okay? For just like a couple of quick minutes there. And then we'll do the negotiation. So you'll play the designer. You have your script opened right now?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. And cool. All right. And I'll play the coffee
cool.
shop owner. Okay. And we'll just try to kind of get a little bit started and go from there. I'll try to leave the rooms open for a few folks just for a couple more minutes then. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So we're going to start scene in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Angel, how you doing? Well, thanks for coming to the shop and meeting me tonight. Really excited to talk about the project, but I just wanted to, invite you to have a conversation about some ideas I want for a project. So let's jump into it.
Hey, I'm happy to be here and to help you. Can you explain to me what you need?
Okay, well, I'm looking to make an ad like on probably Instagram because Starbucks just opened around the corner, and I would like to create an ad and hire you for those services. And I saw some of your work, and I'm excited, and I think you would make a really good designer for the project.
So you chose me because you think I'd be a good choice for this project, and you want to.
So on the script upstairs says "Why me? Why now?"
So I have to go by the theme.
I would go in the order, right? And just try it out. Okay. So just give that a go.
Okay. Why this? Why now? And why me? Why would you?
Yeah. I called you because I saw some of your work online on Instagram, and I like it, and I think it might be something that we would like to do for our project. And so I just wanted to call you in and find out more information about it.
Okay, why not choose some other people that do it for cheaper instead of me, since I charge a lot?
Well, I mean, I don't know how much you charge, but hopefully we can like negotiate the price and figure out a way to kind of make it work. So hopefully that might be something we can do.
Okay, so then why would you hire me for the most expensive option?
I didn't know. Well, I didn't know you were expensive, but I mean, I think at the end of the day, I just like good work, and hopefully whatever the price is, it's reasonable, and I can work with whatever hopefully you can work with the budget that I have, but hopefully we can talk a little bit more about that and get more details.
Okay, we'll see what we could do with your budget, but why not finding another designer that's cheaper now that that I'm a bit expensive?
Well, you're kind of the first person I'm checking in on. But I didn't know designers were expensive, so we'll find out in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I'm just starting with you, and maybe we'll find some solutions a little bit later. But I guess I could, but I just started with the quality of the work and called you, so that's kind of my basis.
Okay. So you would want to. So wouldn't you want to talk to other people before going to me?
Well, you're the first person, but if it sounds like you don't want to do the project, then that's okay too. Are you saying that you don't want to do the project?
No, it's not that. It's just that, it's. I get that you're trying to compete with Starbucks, and well, not really compete, but you want to not lose your customers. And I'd say that you probably want to go to the other people who might work on you much faster, and because I take time with my work, and I don't know what you want for the deadline, so I was just making sure.
Okay, well, deadlines are flexible. I can work with you there, but whatever the case may be, then that's okay. But yeah, I'm willing to work deadlines and flex. Starbucks has been around for a while. If it's going to take a while to get good work, then I'm willing to wait. I think I have enough money saved away that we don't have to worry. But yeah, I think I have some time to kind of work with you. But how much time do you think something like this would probably take?
I'd say a little over a week, a week or
Okay.
two.
Okay. And what's your fees? How much do you charge for the work that you're doing?
Well, it really depends on how you want to do the project. Like, usually I would charge about, oh, not sure, just, hmm. Usually I charge not a lot, just not a lot of money, but with you, I could work something out.
Okay. So can you give me a ballpark of, if it's not a lot of money and you can do it in a week to do an ad, like how much do you think that might like run you? I mean, I like the fact you can do it in a week. So how much do you think that's going to cost to do it in a week?
Well, within a week, it might cost me about, say, a little over 1 grand.
Okay. And can you kind of explain to me how that kind of breaks down? Why $1,000 for the ad?
Well, because this project, it just takes time, and I want to help you out as much as, if you're willing to communicate with me with your project.
Okay, so it's $1,000 for a week to make an ad, and that kind of sounds fast. Is that considered a long time for you?
No, it's just if because for an advertisement, and since I want to help you out, it might.
Okay. Well, we'll stop it right there, Angel. So
I'm bad at this.
no, it's okay. This is why we do the practice, okay? But check it out. Number 6, what is the best case scenario, or what do you want for the project? What's the outcome? Number 1 and 5, you did really well. Number 6, number 1 and 5 was just like, I'm expensive, give me reasons why. Then number 6, and let me share my screen for a second. Number 6 was is basically, okay, so now that you've given me 3 reasons why you should hire me, then number 6 is, what's the outcome? What's the thing that you want me to give you, right? So you kind of didn't mention number 6. You didn't ask number 6, because then now you're bringing it back to the business with number 6, and you're saying, what do you want? What is the outcome? Does that make sense? So,
Yeah.
so then once you kind of play hard to get, then you say, okay, what's the best case scenario? What's going to make you happy? What do you want me to give you in your hand when the project is done? And then I tell you what it is, and then you drop the price. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see.
So it's ultimately like 3 parts to it: is why me, why not, why this, and reasons why you shouldn't go with me because I'm expensive. Then number 6 is, okay, now that you pretty much told me you want to stick with me, now tell me what you really want. What is the best, what's going to make you happy, right? At the end of the day, so I can get paid. And then I tell you, right? And then from there you say, okay, based on what you told me, your challenges, your needs, this is going to be this much money for the project. And you got to let me react to that, right? And
Yeah.
and when I react, then you say, okay, like, here's the reasons why. You told me this, and you just basically repeat 1 through 5 again, right? I am fast, I do quality work, like you said, I do all these things, right? But it's still going to cost you that much. But that's why you picked me, right? Because you told me why you picked me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the idea. Now, what I heard from you was, well, I think I could do it in a week, or you gave me a time before I gave you the outcome. Does that make sense? So you kind of answered what I asked you, but you never want to say the time until I tell you what I want. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the more specific the outcome of the project, the more you can price it. Because if you said $1,000 in a week, and I said yes, but then you find out the project takes longer than a week, we have a problem, right? It's under fee, as it were, and now you're going 2 weeks, possibly for $1,000, and now you're making half as much in your time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it takes some practice, but that's why we did it. Okay. So I think you did a great start. You did a really good flow of 1 through 5 following that script. When you jump to 6, that's where it gets interesting. Like, okay, now tell me specifically what you want, what you need. And so then I can commit to that. And then from there, we talk about the numbers. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. All right, man. So you did great. I think it was good. But we'll get the rest of the class back and we'll see how everybody did. Okay. And we'll find out if they had a deal, no deal. And then we go from there. So I'm curious to see if everyone made a deal or no deal. And so we'll go from there. Okay. So we'll have about 43 seconds. Okay. How'd it go, guys? Did everyone make some deals? Did everyone make no deals? Because no deals is just as good as a deal. I'll say that right now.
Made a deal.
Okay, cool. So we'll give folks a few more seconds, and then we'll get them back, and we'll kind of do a quick recap. Was this helpful? Did this actually help you guys a little bit and do a little bit of practice? And hopefully you got to meet. If you were in the main session, Angel and I went for it, and it was a little awkward, right? And it was kind of like, and it was, a little different, but that's good. It's practice. It's practice. So it's good. I'm glad you guys had some practice in it, and it felt awkward for me doing it with Angel, and Angel felt awkward too, but that's part of the practice, right? So let's go ahead and set. I think we got everybody back, right? And let's go ahead and talk a little bit about deal or no deal. So let me go down the list here and see. Let's see. We'll start with Danielle and Giovanni. Did you guys make a deal? Have no deal? What was your outcome, and how much money did you guys negotiate? Curious to know. You can voice it in or turn on the camera, whichever you feel comfortable with. I think I see you there, Danielle.
We made a deal, and Giovanni accepted. I
there's definitely details left out. Like now that you step away, like we didn't come up with a time frame. Like so, it definitely just helps you think of like the questions you should ask when you're actually faced with that scenario, because we left some things out.
Okay, so that's good. So Angel and I had that same issue, and we're like, wait, you said a week, but I never said what you wanted specifically. Or some people say what they wanted, but they never said how long it was going to take. Okay, and how much money how much money did you guys agree upon? Like, how high did you guys go on the fee?
I mean, based on the information, he said his business was doing really bad. He had been losing 50% of his customers. He seemed to be in a bad situation. So what he gave to me, I came up with a project for $2,400 to make a logo, like one major logo and then like a smaller logo he can use like in details to kind of tie them together.
Okay, that's good. Okay, and so you had a limit of how many logos, $2,400, and they went for the deal, but timeline was like how long it would take was the question at the end of the day. Like, how long would this actually take?
Yeah, it wasn't answered.
Okay, all right, and then so did you feel comfortable doing it, or was it kind of awkward just overall going through it? How would you level it?
I'd say like that, like it's always like an uncomfortable, awkward, but we had a good flow, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did. It was pretty good.
Okay.
Not bad.
Money is always going to be uncomfortable to talk about this. So the sooner you can just accept it, the better you get at it, if that makes sense. I still feel uncomfortable talking about money sometimes as well when it comes to, it's just a natural thing. You just got to get used to it. All right, cool. So good job, guys. You made some money and you made a deal. Congratulations. That's great. And you had some practice. So thank you for sharing. Appreciate it. All right. How about Connor and Louie? How'd you guys do? Did you guys make a deal or no deal? How much did you guys generate?
Well, Louie and I feel like we killed it. So we we think we did a great job on that. Well, I mean, for me personally, I think what was difficult, I kind of felt like I was still coming off as a salesman. It was kind of difficult to like transition from being like you mentioned, kind of like just pulling back a bit. So that was difficult a little bit at first. I was able to get $10,000 out of him, which was so 5,000 up front and then 5,000 at the end. But I told him, I was like, okay, I'll do research for you. I'll do all the surveys. I'll interview employees and customers coming in. So, and we kind of established about like a half a year time frame.
Oh, wow. So, whoa. Okay. So that's kind of lengthy for 10,000. That's
So,
like 2,000
some,
a month almost.
So just to kind of chime in, and I kind of took the approach from a really small business owner who was, who was just kind of doing good enough until a corporate shop came in and, just had to find a way to completely appeal to different demographics and to just revamp not only the logo, but the workspace itself, the aesthetics, the whole vibe of it in a sense. So from the discussion going, and the lengthy time period, like I said, I took it from a smaller business person who wouldn't be able to make something happen just like that. So it was to the benefit of me, the coffee owner per se, to take my time and work with someone who was going to give me a good product, who I was comfortable paying money so long as the product came out to be what I wanted. And it was more of a lengthy investment and a higher risk kind of investment for me, because I took the approach of a small shop owner who was just, really trying to revamp his coffee shop. So I approached it that way myself, just because I don't know why, I just felt like doing it that way.
I feel kind of bad. I feel like I took too much from him. So,
yeah, but on the other hand, this would be a thing where, see, if Connor had done that, and me being the coffee owner, I would expect, and this might put Connor in a tight spot later, because for 10 grand, I would expect that, yeah, the high quality work that was referred to me, that I was referred to get to him, would be met. But for the 10 grand, then now I'm expecting everything else to be top quality and over a 6-month period, I wouldn't expect to hear any excuses anymore. You know, that's the type of owner I would be, coming from this small shop, taking a risk like that. So then that in case would probably put, I would imagine, pressure on Connor. Even if I'm not going to be all over him, hassling him, I would expect everything to be all T's crossed and I's dotted. You know, so in a way, he might have shot himself in the foot by, you know, overcharging and taking a long time, because if he doesn't deliver with that product and the timeline, you know, then that hurts his credibility as a graphic designer. Even coming from a small shop, especially I think coming from a small shop owner who would then pass that down the line to other small shop owners trying to take a risk on somebody, you know, as opposed to if it really hits and he comes through, then this small shop owner will be like, hey, this is the guy you want to go to, because, you know, it took a little longer and it cost me a little bit more money, but I didn't have the money to make it all happen at once. Out of those 10 grand, I only had 2,500 to begin with. I took a loan for another 25. There was my first 5. Everything else came as the relationship grew throughout the 6 months.
Okay, so there's a lot going on, because what you guys, because what I was hearing is, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is like, were you guys comfortable enough to like hang out if this was not a transaction, right? Would you feel like you guys would still do dinner, have drinks, you know, on a regular? That would be the first like test, right? Like, do you guys just connect and do you guys gel there, right? Mm-hmm. If it sounded like, Louis, like you're like really strict on the business and you know exactly what you're looking for and you have like really strict parameters and things like that, which is good. You have good expectations, but for the designer side, it is almost pushing into like almost like an hourly thing, right? So it's going to be, I'm going to do all this in 6 months, but you kind of mentioned I'm going to give you time to do it. So there's a little bit, it's almost like you got freedom, but there's almost kind of like an expectation of like, I should see something right away. So to go from 10 to say that you're going to pay 2,500, you know, I would probably, the sense that I'm getting is like, try to obviously take half up front, right? So Connor, you'll take half up front, and the time, I would try to shorten the time a little bit. So then that way it's not turning into like 6 months for 10,000, right? Like, you know, you really wanted to be like 10,000 for like 2 months or less, roughly, you know? Okay. So you always want to shorten the time a little bit. And then Connor, it's you know, 10,000 sounds like a lot of money, but in 6 months and you're doing all this research and work, like you have to be cautious you don't stretch yourself too thin, you know? So, so I almost feel like it's, I do get a sense that you wanted to help each other out, but don't offer too much to someone that has to get like, that also doesn't have enough either, right? Because you really want to make sure that they can afford you, right? Yeah. So it's an interesting situation. Louis sounded like he was willing to go the extra mile to save the business. So it sounds like he's a risk taker in that area a bit, which is not a bad thing. It can be a good thing depending. But then that kind of scenario, it's almost kind of like he wants a guarantee that you're going to be successful, right? To which you got to say, there's no guarantee, right? Because if you wanted a guarantee, then we would have to put in like, you know, web tracking. We would have to do all this actually do like data and analyze how many people coming inside and out of the door. Like you would need to charge even more just to track and make it a guarantee, right? Because sometimes guarantee can only be achieved if you actually like put a measure on everything. How many people walk in the door, you know, who's engaging, who's buying, who's not buying. It's almost like a crazy long research project. And so that costs more money. So the moment you say research, I would say double your price, man, because the production stuff should be in that area. But once you hit research, you should be doubling, because research is time and energy, and it takes a while. That's probably the thing that takes the most time, is like research and just figuring out how the business works, doing interviews, going and interviewing people, taking that time. Your time is valuable. So every time you mention research, just double that thing up, go up, you know, 50% at least, just to cover it. And some studios do that. They actually charge a lot on research because it takes time, energy, power, computers, you know, it just takes a lot. It's almost easier to just build the damn thing than it is to like figure out how everything works, and if that makes sense. So it's your thinking, and so that part should be the most price there. Okay, it's good. You guys had, looks like you had a good interaction. So
Yeah.
well done. Well
Yeah,
done.
and real quick too, you know, Louis, we flipped roles too, and I got to give Louis credit because, you know, like I kind of went from a different direction. I was like a medium-sized business who took a very steep decline, and I think Louis was better at kind of calculating that. And you know, he basically offered he offered 6,000 in 4 months. So I thought he did a really good job there too.
Okay, that's good. So 6,000 within a 4-month time frame. I would shorten it even more, you know, because 2,000 a month to do full time, if you're working on this project full time, still feels a little bit steep, or not steep, but like too low.
Steep.
So yeah, I would go at least double it for the same time, or shorten it by half the time, you know, for that price. So just, you know, it's great work. I would go even higher on time. Anytime you add more time for cheap, you just got to go up on price, because your time is the most valuable thing. It almost from my experience, the more time you put into something, the more time people think, the more time people talk, the more time people they start adding things. So so the quicker you can do a good turnaround, the better. But that's meaningful. So not too long, not too short, depending on the time frames and things like that. So that's great, guys. You did well, and I like your numbers, man. It sounds like you got a match make here. That's cool. Future business.
Yep.
All right.
We got this.
Awesome. Well done, guys.
All right, thank you.
Okay, let's go to Alex and Alexa. Now, Alexa, I think our dual enrollment just joined us tonight. Okay, so you kind of figured it out. Did Alex kind of break it down, or did you guys actually go for it and make an attempt, or not really?
Yeah, we missed a few steps, like the time frame, but yeah, it went pretty well, kind of.
Okay, so did you make a deal or no deal?
We did, but yeah, I wasn't really familiar, but yeah, it was.
All right, cool. So you at least gave it a shot and you went for it. And can I ask how much it was, just out of curiosity?
10,000.
Whoa, all right. Okay, you've got a good start before high school. Okay. All right, cool. That's awesome. You did go for it, and no time frames, but you did kind of say. And who made that deal? Were you the designer, Alexa, or Alex?
I was a designer.
Yeah, so basically we said $5,000 first, and then after another $5,000.
Oh, you did installments. Oh,
yeah.
I'm starting to pick up installment plans here. Okay, so half up front, half later, and Alex was like, okay, you went for that number, and Alexa, you were okay with that. Okay, all right. Hey, great job. I know you just joined us. I know you're kind of figuring it out, but I'm gonna break it down for you in just a couple moments of how that all worked out. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Good job. Welcome to the class. All right, Arari and Precious, how did you guys do? Did you make a deal or no deal, and how much was it?
Okay, so the way that we did it, so I do commissions outside of class, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that, she actually messaged me on the first day of school, and we decided, hey, since we're practicing this, why don't we like use how I'm trying to hire you, and like as this type of conversation, and see if we can like go from there, because everyone's like doing like as if they were a cafe shop trying to hire someone for a design.
Mm-hmm.
Or so like we kind of did that, and the price that we settled on was like $40 or something, which is so much less than what everyone else is saying, so I'm kind of nervous about that.
Okay, no worries. And did you flip the roles, or
no, we just went with like what we started as.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna definitely need to practice that. Based on the value, right? So if based on the coffee shop, how many employees, the rent, I mean, it's in the thousands, so you can go upwards to like $1,000 plus $2,400 depending on the type of coffee shop. So so was it just because you guys kind of had your own scenario, different businesses, or was it just because coffee shop, and you just kind of flowed according to the conversation. Is that kind of how it was? It was more loosely.
It was more like
It
um
flowed.
we were
It flowed.
talking.
It was like actually real life because we were actually making like a deal.
Like she wanted to actually hire me for something.
Oh,
And
it wasn't the coffee shop. We were talking about actually doing a drawing.
yeah.
Like,
Like
so this.
she was
Oh.
like, so like, oh wait, since like we're already like doing this, why don't I just like ask you stuff because I want to hire you for this?
Oh, so you took the project, but you made your okay. So so rewind. So you do drawings for creators, right? You do
Yeah.
like anime related stuff, and you do
Yes.
illustrations, and they put that onto their banners or on their pages or whatever that is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there's no brick and mortar. We just have a drawing. We're just straight out just exchanging drawings.
Specifically, she wanted a character designed for a business.
Okay, so can we ask the details, or is this like a top secret thing?
Not really top secret, but what she had explained to me, because the conversation, we didn't get into the detail on what the character wanted to look like, but we got into the detail on how she wanted it drawn, what like the genre of her business was going to be like, what like just kind of like the vibe that she was going for. That's what we went into, which is kind of like K-pop anime type thing that she wanted. She wanted a character with that kind of vibe, and she wanted it because she was going to be selling K-pop related merch. So she wanted like the character wearing the merch, like like a mascot or a persona for like her little company.
Okay, so this sounds like a logo, but it's not. But it's instead of a logo, it is a custom character that may turn into like a logo or identity. So, but it's still it's an image that represents a brand's identity, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of like a logo, but it's more like a detailed illustration, more or less.
Yes.
If that's the case, I would have. Well, okay. I'm just gonna pretend you made the deal and you're gonna do it, and that's it. And I think that's your final deal, right?
Yes.
I think you could have priced it higher. Like a logo in the hundreds. Okay. Now, I'm not saying to change your price. If you made a deal, if this is a legit real deal and if that was okay, that's great. Now, if you do get a client, and ask that, it's like a logo. I would literally charge a few hundred because, I mean, is it going to take you more than a week or 2 weeks or less?
Like a little more than a week.
So, and that's almost like a couple hours a day or 4 hours a day or here and there, depending on it.
It depends because of school. So
okay, so but still, you're problem solving. You're converting, from real life to character. You have to like really think about the shapes, the form, the colors, the proportions, all that stuff that it goes into creating this, identity of a person. You're literally creating an identity of a person and putting it into a graphic. And not only that, they're going to take your drawing and put it onto merchandise for products that could cost more than what you charged. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the fact that I heard merchandise says like, oh, they're going to make more money than me just putting this on everything. So that tells me that they're could make a few hundred at Gray, 500, maybe upwards to 1,000 or more, just because they're going to put this stuff on merch. So, and they're leveraging social media to do that. And you're converting the image and you're putting it into a drawing so that it converts to t-shirts and stuff. Like all that is like a logo. And at the end of the day, I would have charged like a logo based on that calculation, right? Now, you said it was with Arai, right?
Yeah.
So Arai is like kind of like her own little small business or freelance, right? So we don't know much about her business, but Arai, I mean, you're doing this you're a startup, or do you have like a pretty successful freelance business there? Because I want to kind of get an assessment on that.
Well, it's a startup because I do have some designs. Like I was telling her about how I have some designs I like designed by myself, just paper and like pencil. And I was like, okay, I'll give you the designs and you could do your own like special touch on it. And I was like, that's what I was like thinking of. But also, about the logo. But it's just a startup for right now.
Yeah, it gets tricky, right? Because you're both kind of starting out. So where do you go from there, right?
Yeah.
when you're starting out, I would just say like, go cash, right? And go high. So, if you were doing 400, 250, let's say 300, let's just say $300 is still pretty good, I would probably say, right? Because she's starting out, you're kind of trying to leverage that a little bit. It's going to take you some time, right? Maybe it's going to take a week or so, part-time here and there. I would say that's decent for that amount of money, but maybe more, maybe like 300 to 500, depending, right? If you didn't know each other. The other option, and I don't recommend it much, is you can work out like a trade of equal value, right? So, what can Araí do to help you out that's of equal value that what you're giving to her, and you can trade according to that, right? I don't recommend it to everyone because then everyone's going to trade and think like they can pull that off. But, if she does photography or has a certain skill or trade, then see if you can leverage that to that amount. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So if she's a photographer, be like, okay, look, if you're a photographer, I need to do photos for my, for Christmas or for whatever it is. And I want you to do the photographs and do all the prints, and then we'll call it a deal. All right, cool. We'll do that. So you could kind of barter and do that, and see if you can pull off that run. And then I think you could get equal value if that helps, So you do have to play it out, right? And you can do it like that. And then once you get the project, move to like a client business, brick and mortar, advertise, and kind of build up your clientele and your pricing from there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, you got to charge a lot more. You really got to put your commissions on the same level as like logos. And the moment a business comes, you want to charge exactly the same way as if it was like this project, this Facebook ad, right? You're doing a lot more, almost equal, if not more than like a logo. You're doing specialized characters, and they have a style, a look, and a flair, and you're talented. So you got to go way higher. The moment you put that stuff on product, it's going to skyrocket. And I've seen people that have done similar things. I think they did car stickers. I had a student last semester that was doing custom drawings, like what you do on Illustrator, but for custom car vinyl stickers, right? Like you put onto the side of cars. And they were charging like $1,000+ for that sticker. One design, one illustration, but it went on to a sticker that was like in $1,000+, right? So the product does make a difference in how you do it. But I'm glad that this is like a legit business, and go from there. Now, I'm not saying to raise your price. If Harari is like cool and you're good with that then go for it. I would definitely increase the price if for those future runs. So treat it like a logo, I would say, and moving forward there. Okay. Or work out a deal after class. Go just message each other and say like, hey, maybe we can trade a deal, like Professor said, and maybe you can hook each other up and do a bartering system if that helps out. Okay. All right there. So good job. Great. I'm glad you did that. And I'm glad this is like a real life example. So that's awesome. Okay. All right. Cool. Good job, guys. Man, this is getting really interesting. I'm loving it. Okay. Let me move quick. So Kat and Sylvia, did you deal or no deal? And how much did you guys make?
I don't know. It was kind of like in the middle. We were still like kind of questioning like if we did everything right, but it sounded like a deal. It sounded like a deal. So what we did is the scenario was that she was like a medium coffee shop. Like she was doing well, but she had competition because of another coffee shop. And she said she just kind of wanted like to rebrand her coffee shop and make it more like appealing and like have the logo bring more people in, I guess. So I basically I asked her I felt like a salesman, so I feel like I did that part wrong. But I basically asked her how many employees she had, if she didn't mind me asking, and how much each coffee cost. And so I just took what I got, and I just did 10% of that. And so what we came up with was around $10,000, and which would take about a month and a half to do. So yeah, that's what we came up with.
I would say good job on the pricing. I want to zoom in on I felt like a salesperson. I think the way to do it is kind of listen more and ask more of the open-ended questions, I know you ask specific questions, but I would say ask more of like how and why, like, how, like, when did you see it happening? How do you, what makes you think this is the situation, right? Because if you ask how many employees, like it turns into like, oh, well, how does this relate to the project and things like that. So, and if it does relate, great. But if it was more like to price it, then automatically like red flag goes up, like, oh, they're pricing me out based on my business. And not only that, I've seen businesses lie about their employees. They catch on real quick that question and they lie. I've worked in places where like they don't want people to see their business, because they know once they see the building and how much they spend, then the company's going to raise the price. So there are people that literally are watch out for that. So I would go more research mode and be like, okay, like, what's the issue? How did we get here? Why me? Why now? Why this? And, and you can even ask some indirect questions like, man, it looks like, with all your employees here, looks like you guys might be struggling. And they're like, oh no, it's only me or two other people, So sometimes you want to kind of like drag it out or pull it out instead of like directly just asking them, because then you feel like a salesperson, and it does show up. Like when you feel it, they see it, it gets kind of awkward. You always want to be genuine and just be like, okay, what's wrong? How can I help you? And, just tell me a little bit more so I can understand the problem. If you hire me, great. If not, maybe I helped you just clarify things a little bit so that, you use me as a sounding board to clear your thinking, right? Either way, they know that, you're expensive and that you still help them for free if the deal didn't go through, because you just helped them kind of take time to stop and think about the project, right? Some businesses don't even have time to stop and think. So you offer that, okay? So yeah, I would say that anytime you feel like it's like feeling kind of sales pitchy, just kind of stop, pause, and be like, you know what? But how can I just help you? And you can just ask that person that question, like, you know what? And you can even admit it, like, I don't want to come off as a sales pitch, but how can I help you? How can I, how can I help you? And what are some ways you think I can help you, based on what I can do? And then let them tell you, and then go from there. Okay. So
Okay.
you could always stop the script and just say, I don't want to be a sales pitch. Just tell me how you see me helping you.
Mhm.
And then they'll just be like, well, I would love this, and that. And then the conversation goes into a much cleaner, more authentic, genuine direction, if that helps.
Okay. Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
But I'm glad you mentioned that. And I'm glad you were transparent about that. So thanks for sharing. And good job. All right. Very cool. All right, guys. Let's see. Real quick, Derek and James, deal or no deal? How much?
Yeah, so we got a deal because Derek was mostly playing the role of like a very small coffee shop owner, and we actually got a deal of $700.
Okay, very cool. And did you talk time or just do the
That was one of the things that we forgot to mention, the time wise, but he did take a lot of consideration into the salary of the employees that I was supposedly had, and as well as other factors like, I don't know, like my budget essentially. So he managed that pretty well, and he gave me a reasonable price. I didn't feel a need to negotiate. Like it really did. Like it felt realistic in terms of me owning a shop.
Cool. Okay, so it felt authentic, genuine, and you guys felt like the conversation flowed, and it didn't feel sales pitchy in any way, shape, or form. Cool.
Yeah,
All right.
it's like as if we were just already friends from the beginning after that, and then just negotiating on what can I actually do, and if sounds like a reasonable price range for him, considering his budget and currently that he's still new mostly in the business.
Very cool. Okay, so it was reasonable, it was good, it felt good, not too much, not too low, but enough for both parties to be happy. It's a win-win at the end of the day. Good. Yeah. All right. Well done, guys. All right. Good job. Appreciate
it felt like a little bit awkward to be on the other end now at this time. Because doing it with you on Tuesday, I actually was playing the coffee shop role owner, or now I'm playing the graphic design role owner, the graphic designer here, and it felt a little weird just to get the hang of it.
Yeah, and that's the point, right? Like the sooner we can talk about money, the more you guys can make decisions on talking about it a little bit more. So the earlier you start, the more practice you can get throughout your academic careers or in your careers. And so I believe that just the younger, the better, right? So if we could do this stuff as early as high school, great. That way, by the time you hit college, you have no problem talking about it. So that's great. And I'm glad you guys made a deal. So good job. Okay. All right, Dominic and Laker, I know you guys, really quick, did you make a deal or no deal? And how much did you generate?
And in the beginning, we had some minor technical difficulties, so it took us a little while to get going. But once we did, it seemed to go pretty well, and we didn't get quite up to making a deal or anything like that, but our conversation back and forth was pretty good. Okay, great. So it started off well, a little bit more time, probably would have ended up with a positive result of some sort where a deal would have been made at some point, but it's got a good start. Okay, great. Okay, great. So that's half the battle. So if you feel comfortable talking to this person and genuinely want to help, then that's going to eventually lead to something, hopefully based on needs and wants of the deal. So good. All right. Good start, guys. Appreciate it. Okay. All right, and then Andrew and Kaiser, how did you guys do? Deal, no deal, how much? Let's see. Let's see, Kaiser, do I see you here? Yeah, I see you there. Okay, so did you guys did you make a deal, no deal? How much would that be?
We made a deal, but we forgot to talk about cost. We always talked about the timing.
Yeah, we just kept going and we kind of forgot about it. But we did come up with like a percent of how much he was gonna take.
Oh, okay.
But there was no actual like amount, so this is.
I proposed. I just straight out said 20% of his income.
Well, I mean, you have to kind of straight out ask what the income is, right? Because if somebody said 20% of my income, I would think like the whole take home, and then I would be like, wait, what number do you think that is? So I would say that the sooner you can drop a number, the better. In negotiation, it's called anchoring. And if basically what it is that the first person to drop the number, the difficult it is to leave that number from your head. So the strategy is be the person with the higher number so that the other person has a harder time dropping the number from later. So, and there's a study that was done about that. If you guys listen to that podcast that is linked on the assignment, it talks about that where I think like 20 or 30% of the deals went through when the first number was dropped. Like rarely did it go down. It stayed there. So anchoring is powerful if you're the first person to drop the number in the beginning. So be the first. Sometimes in deals, you'll know somebody's a really good negotiator if you're talking to them as a designer and then they tell you how much they can spend. They've anchored and they got you in some ways, and you got to be like, crap, and you got to basically like avoid that number and try to get them to kind of verify who you are, and you have to rebuild the bridge as it says. So anchoring, you want to be the first, but 20% income, okay. I would say try to convert that into a number as quickly as possible as the designer, and not for the business owner, because then they'll say like, what, $1,000, just to kind of mess with you if they're really savvy. So flip it and be like, hey, well, I think it's this much, and then you go from there. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good job, guys. All right. 2 more teams. Alexa, Philip, deal, no deal. How much did you guys create?
So we had a deal and it came out to $2,000 for a rebranded logo and catchy slogan.
Oh, very good. Okay. And in the interaction, it was pretty comfortable, good, or awkward in the beginning and kind of flowed a little bit later?
We started off by just like kind of getting to know each other really quick, and then we're like, okay, now let's start. And then we started talking about the deal itself. So, and then once the deal closed, we asked each other like a little bit more about each other, so like we could just like, learn a bit more.
Cool. Okay, but overall the conversation flowed, deal seemed
cool.
Successful, and it went pretty well. Good job. All right, good job. Good deal, guys. Appreciate it. And Adriana and Nidia, deal or no deal, and how much did you guys create?
So I introduced like my business. We did no deal because in like the scenario, my business was barely starting. Like it was brand new, I guess. And then what she wanted was like I wanted a like a coffee bean like kind of logo, and she said she would do it for 550, and then she would do it within a week. But since I felt like I was like barely starting my business, then I was like, oh, I think I'll maybe try and look around maybe for a cheaper alternative.
Okay, that's good because then there's no deal and that's okay too, right? Like maybe there's not enough money and you have to find something. Now you know, but now you know that if you go back to Adriana, then the number is going to be high regardless. So kind of raise your expectation and you're smart enough to say, no, can't do it, no deal. I'm just starting. And that's happened to me too. So that's a legit thing. Some people starting and they're just like, man, I got to go to somebody else. Sorry. But that's why you say, why me? Why not? Why this? Go to 99 Designs, $99 for anything. Go to this person, go to that person. Because in the end, if that person says, oh, okay, I guess no deal, you still help them find someone. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you still served and she still helped and that's good. And they still have a positive feel, right? And the way I like that because you never know in the future, they might come back to you, right? So I always like to kind of like lead, like rich or quote poor. I still like to lead people in a good direction because you don't know if that quote poor person comes back as your boss in the future or comes back as your biggest client ever, but they remembered how you treated them. And they come back because if you treated them well when they had $0, then they know they're gonna treat you well when you have plus dollars or millions or hundreds of thousands. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So I always look at it like from that point of view is like, hey, you never know. Just the world's a crazy place and you never know if they could be very successful in a year or in 5 and they remember you and they call you, you know? So that could be helpful. And that even happens, you know, even to this day. I still get calls from people, you know, and that just were like, hey, you did a job for me. I need your help. Can you do this? And this is what I need, you know? And so you just never know where the jobs are going to come from, who's listening and who you helped. It could have been somebody that you just spoke to for 2 seconds and they liked how you treated them and they come back years later and you don't remember, you know, but they remembered you and they remember how you made them feel. So I always like to just, you know, help everyone as much as you can because you never know who's going to come back. And that could be your biggest and your best client. You never know. You just never know. Okay. All right. Good job. Guys, I'm so proud of you guys. It looks like you all made a deal. Most of you guys made a deal and one of you made an actual deal and you guys got to know each other and build a little bit of community and that's great. And I'm very thankful for that. So well done. It's 7:56 and I'm going to go for a break. So I'm going to say, let's go break. When we get back, we're going to do tonight's assignment, okay, together. And then as soon as that's done, everyone turns that in. You'll get some points. And then we'll give you guys some time to work on your habits and flow through that. So I'm going to try to take about less than 20 or 30 minutes to work on tonight's assignment. So you can turn that in. And then I'll give you guys the remaining hour to work on your habits, get those in, and you'll be fully caught up with the class. So I'm going to give you some lab time tonight because the professor's slowing down and shutting up more. So I have to learn to not lecture every night. So forever. Okay. So we'll do let's do a 5-minute break. When we get back, we're gonna go lab mode and start putting some stuff, projects, and getting some assignments in. Okay. Sounds good. All right. We'll see you guys in 5 minutes. All right. See you then. I'm going to pause it. Okay, here we go. All right, guys. So we are back and we're going to jump in and do the value-based exercise together as a class. So let me go ahead and share my screen and then we'll kind of break it down. Let's see if I can put something to play here. And let's take a look and we'll set it up. Okay. So that's going to be the presentation or the worksheet exercise link. And so I'm basically going to be giving you this link over here so that you can get a copy. And hopefully you have made a copy, so it should be in your system and you can open that up. But if not, then let me go ahead and just share the link one more time, and then you can create a copy for yourself. So if you already have it open, then you can go ahead and open it. If you haven't opened it, then I'm going to copy the link, and then we will get that out to you momentarily as soon as I clear out the annotation and go to mouse mode. Okay, so copy link. And tonight's assignment is value-based pricing. Okay. Right. Okay. And when you click onto the link, it should ask you to make a copy. So I'll give you guys a few moments to have that open. Once it's on your screen, this link that basically shows what it looks like my screen, you can give me a little thumbs up emoji. That'll be great. And then we can kind of take it forward from there. So I'll give you guys a couple of moments to pull that up. Okay, great. Okay, and if you're or if you just open it up and make a copy, go for it. I know some computers are a little bit delayed depending. So we'll go there. Up to my screen for share. Nice loading controls. Okay, we're good. And okay, so let's go ahead and just kind of jump in. So basically this exercise is a pull from what we were just talking about on Tuesday, which is like how to price a client, okay? And we did talk about Victor, the coffee shop owner, and we kind of have those numbers down, but we're just gonna kind of, run through these numbers and plug them in, okay? So when I see Victor or see a client, I ask myself these three things. Number one, how much rent are they paying, right? If I go to that space, so the picture kind of helps a little bit to help me to do that, or I can Google the city and figure out what rent is for businesses in that city. The second thing I say is how much money they pay employees per month. And the third thing is, how many customers can I calculate really quick in my head that they generate? Okay, so we're gonna do that right now. So how much rent did we say that the coffee shop owner makes per month? Does anyone remember what that number ballpark was? And I think we said, I guess for Whittier, since we're Rio Hondo College and it's just outside Whittier, but did we kind of ballpark a little bit of what that rent could be? And if you remember, it could be anywhere from like, $4,000 to $8,000 for rent, depending on where that is, okay? So let's just kind of put in, just a conservative number. Let's say for a space like that Victor's in, let's put in 5,000, okay? So again, the numbers are not exact, but they're ballpark, okay? So let's just say that the rent is $5,000. That's brick and mortar rent per month of business, okay? That's the first part. That's the first number you're gonna type in is $5,000, okay? Now, the next thing we're gonna punch in for number two is how much money they pay employees per month. And we were saying the official, what is the hourly rate in California? Was it $14, $15 now for the minimum wage rate?
14.
14, okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna enter then the minimum wage. It could be higher, it could be lower. We're just gonna assume that it's minimum wage just for base, just to have a base price. So we're gonna be conservative on that. So $14 per hour minimum wage. And when you work from morning till night, from 9 a.m., let's say to 5 p.m., that's 8 hours, okay? And that's 8 hours a day, Monday, 8 plus 8 on Tuesday, plus 8 on Wednesday, plus 8 on Thursday, plus 8 on Friday equals 8 times 5, that's 40 hours, right? Not including the weekends. So we're just gonna guesstimate that it's 40 hours a week at $14, okay? Which is going to be equal to what roughly would that be? Just because I know my math is a little rusty. So 14 times 40 equals $560, okay? That an employee makes every week, okay? Not including taxes, but we're not gonna worry about taxes. So we're just gonna say $560, right? Now, $560 every week for 1 month, that's 4 weeks, right? So 4 weeks in a month, you take 560 and you times that by 4 weeks in a month, right? Unless you count like, I think it's January and July, it's 5 weeks, right? But mostly it's 4 weeks. So that employee is gonna make about $2,240 per month. So the owner pays roughly, $2,200 a month for that employee. Okay, are we tracking so far? And is that making sense? You can give me a little thumbs up. But that's how we're calculating the numbers, okay? If you want to know how much you make, do that in a month and you'll know exactly how much you make before taxes are taken. You should get into the habit of calculating this anytime you go to businesses so that you know what businesses charge, how much they make. You might just discover that you might have a future client because you just priced them out using this method, right? So imagine you walk into a coffee shop tomorrow and say, hey, do you need logo done? And they're like, oh yeah, great. Why? Oh, I just wanted to work on coffee shops. When in your head, you know that they're making a lot of money that you can take, right? Yeah, you're gonna copy the numbers that I wrote down. And so just punch in those numbers and you'll be okay, okay? If you get curious and you wanna know the exact number for your city, then you can Google and modify, but you don't have to turn in those updated numbers. I would say if you're curious, do it on when you have some time, some free time, just to calculate it out. It's a great little formula for calculating how much you can generate or what kind of customers you want to find in the future, okay, for any business, quite frankly. Let's keep going to number 3. How many customers they get per month, so including online. So basically, we Googled this information, but the average number of customers per week a coffee shop would get, that's conservative, I think it's about 100. That's about 20, well, not Monday through Friday. That would be like 100. It's like 20 customers a day, right? So that's about 100 customers per week. That's not bad. 20 customers per day. That's maybe 1 or 2 per hour, right? Walking in the door. So that's pretty low, but it's a start. And we said that the coffee was going to cost about, let's just say $5, $6, I think it is now. Like a cup of coffee is like $5.50 now, more or less, I would say, or $5, depending on the store, right? Starbucks is like $5.50 or $6. So let's just go with just $5 for a cup of coffee. So they're spending about $5 per cup of coffee, right? So 100 customers a week at $5 per cup. Okay, so $5 a cup. Spending is equal to obviously $500, right? $500 a day. Okay, so $500, per day. And I put 2 X's there, so it's a little confusing. Apologize for that. It should be like an uppercase X for the number of weeks. But $500, and we times that by 4 weeks, right? Because if they're making $500 a day per customer times 4 weeks, yeah, that's actually calculated wrong. It should be 4 weeks or 30 days. So $500 a day times 30 days is equal to $15,000. So just to make sure, so 100 cups of coffee a day at $5 is $500 a day. Oh, that's not including the weekends, so it's really 25 days, excuse me. So Monday through Friday, we'll include Saturday and Sunday. Let's just be conservative here. So they're open on weekends, right? Then that is definitely 30 days in a month. That's $15,000 for a customer an hour or two for pretty much every hour for 30 days. That's a lot of money for coffee, for a $5 cup of coffee, right? So 15,000 equals about $15,000. So basically, how much money is Victor needs to generate? Well, add up number one, number two, and number three, and you'll know what how much he needs to be making in order for things to kind of calculate. So $15,000 is what he's making out of the cups of coffee, right? I'm gonna subtract 15,000. Well, no, actually, he's gonna be taking 15,000. Okay, plus 2240 plus 5,000. So that's like $22,000. So Victor needs to make anywhere upwards to $22,240, right? Just to kind of pay the employee, right? To pay for the rent and still have, money left over for the coffee. So he's generating that much, or has to generate that much money per month just to make it pretty conservative, make ends meet, right? Does that kind of make sense overall for that calculation, right? He's making 15,000. He's spending 2,000 for an employee, making 5,000. So at the end of the day, he's thinking like, I have to be making that. Yeah, and that's only one employee, right? So, right, we haven't even calculated how much Victor takes home, but look at those percentages, right? Like he's profiting 15,000 for that coffee, and only paying 2,000 for the employee. That's not even as much as what he's paying for the building, right? It costs more to pay for the building than it is to pay for the employee. But even the coffee, the amount of money he's making is still over half of what he's paying for the employee and for the rent. So he's still making like a 50% margin, right? And that's crazy for coffee, right? Makes me want to start up a coffee business and just, like we can all make a cup of coffee, but not everyone can design a coffee brand, but you guys can. So something to think about, right? And Starbucks is successful, I would say, because they are very strong. They have strong branding, good coffee, but strong branding, right? They have a really strong brand and they have good coffee. So in my opinion, a good food, anything requires just good food, good customer service, and excellent presence or excellent design. And those three will give you a powerhouse start to any business, I think. Okay, so we're gonna take that number of 22,240 and basically plug that into slide number 4. So we're gonna put that number in here. And basically we're gonna say to ourselves, $22,000 times 20%, which in the calculator is basically 0.20. So 22,240 times 0.20, okay, equals $4,448 at 20%. Okay, that's a good amount of money for a project, right? Because you're basing it off the value of what Victor has. So 22,000, right? Now let's just say it's 10,000. So, 22,240. And I'm just doing this on my basic calculator here on my phone, right? Times 10%. That's still $2,224. Okay. So you decide, do you want to charge 10% of what Victor's worth in a month or 20% of what Victor's worth in a month? I would say starting out, maybe go for 10 for the sake of this assignment. Eventually, I would love for everyone to work up to 20 in the future. Okay, so I would say let's just keep it at 20, but realistically, I would say start at 10, just to play with the numbers and just try it. Okay, so did we get this slide done? Is that making sense so far, guys? If it is, a little quick thumbs up emoji. Okay, just running you through some basic 6th grade math. This stuff is just basic 6th grade math, okay? Okay, let's go to the online fitness scenario because that could be a little bit more interesting, okay? In a nutshell, Joyful Fitness is a home business, right? She has, Joy is her name. Joy is has about 1,000+ followers on Instagram, let's just say, and is pretty active regularly. But she does everything through her garage. Okay, she has an online, you know, she does trainings, but it's online. But she has people mostly in person. Okay, so 10 people come to her house to work out. So she's got that happening. Okay. But she wants to gain more customers through Instagram, okay? So she doesn't have a building to pay rent, but her building is technically Instagram. So that is her building. That's her digital building, her digital presence, right? And she's got upwards 1,000 followers or 1,000 people walking into her digital presence or a digital store, let's say, right? And the more often she's talking, the more they walk in through her door. Does that kind of make sense? So that's why people are so active on Instagram, right? It's kind of like them walking in your face instead of the customer walking in your door of your building. It's a reverse kind of thing. So the more they talk, the more they walk into you and they get in your face, and that's engagement, right? I'm engaging, I'm seeing you. You know, it's kind of like a mini advertisement, right? But it's her doing it. And so it doesn't feel like advertisement. It just feels like someone I know. So, but it's still kind of like them walking in your store. You still see her, right? She's just walking in your phone. So just for the analogy. Okay. Now she wants to do more online classes. And she says like, I'm thinking about maybe $50 a class online, right? And she does it on Zoom. And it's live, right? So we know that there's 10 people coming to her house through her garage, and not everyone's going to the gym due to the pandemics, but she knows that they're willing to maybe go on Zoom and watch her work out and do it at their house. So she wants to hire you to make a design on Instagram, okay? So how much do you charge, Joy? Okay, so hopefully I set that up and that makes sense, okay? Okay, if it does, give me a little thumbs up emoji, okay? You know, I got 10 people, they're paying me cash, okay? But I want to do more online because no one's coming. How do I do that? How do I use Instagram to leverage that? Okay, here's how it kind of works. Now, I don't know if anyone does gym classes or anything like that, but if anyone does gym, you know, or does trainings, you can type in the chat how much you normally pay for your trainings. But if we were to Google this, like how much people charge, you know, or how much people pay per month to do like training and things like that, I would probably say for a week or a month, conservatively, it could be anywhere between like 50 to $100 a month, I would say. So I would probably say if it's her house and she's getting started, let's just say $50 per month for 10 clients. So they come in at different times of day, but they pay her like $50 a month, you know, to basically come in. That's kind of low actually, because how often do they come? If they come maybe once a week. If they come once a week, that's $25 a session. Okay, so that makes sense. So $50 a month to do that, okay? So if we take 10 clients times $50 a month, you know, she's making anywhere upwards to like $500 a month there. But if she's charging $100 a month to do that, then that's a little bit higher. You know, let's go 75. No, we'll go 50. We'll just go 50 for starters. Okay. So in terms of the clientele, then what is her per month based on that? So 30 net client times 50 is there. So her total NT net client, 10 clients times $50 on the month is that. And she's getting 30 net clients on that times there per month. Okay, that doesn't really make sense to me. So I'm going to delete that number there to kind of get that, because that's already throwing me off. Okay, so 10 clients, $50 a month. and she's going in that direction. Okay, now here's the thing about, oh, this is the conversion rate. So don't worry about this number for right now. We'll go to number 2. When it comes to converting to her site, because let's say she has a small website and she's got 1,000 followers on Instagram, there's a number called the conversion rate, okay? Instagram has certain numbers, and a conversion means flipping from a watcher to a doer, like someone that actually goes and converts and becomes a customer. So they call that a conversion rate, conversion. It's kind of like if you were like church, right? Like, I've been converted. That means that you were a non-believer, now you're a believer, right? And so a conversion rate is something that digital social media platforms use, and they actually have numbers that show pretty guaranteed numbers of conversion. So Instagram says, as of like maybe a year or 2 ago, that their conversion rate is about 3%. And the average conversion rate for most platforms online is 1 to 3%. Okay, so that's the number, 1 to 3%. So they have about a 3% conversion rate. If she has 1,000 followers on Instagram, okay, that means that out of those 1,000 followers that she's actively talking to, hey guys, how are you, doing lives, exercises, posting things up regularly, right? Getting in their face, regularly, she is converting, or theoretically can convert 30 people out of those 1,000. And the bigger the number of followers, the bigger the likely, right? Now you guys know why people want followers, because the conversion rate, it means bigger take home, right? So I'm gonna enter 1,000 followers at a 3% conversion rate, that's 30 customers, boom, okay? So I'm saying to myself, okay, she's got about 30 customers there, okay? And that's what it was. Number 1 should have been number 2. That's what it was. Okay, so I have to add a little line here. So basically, when it comes to this number, $500 a month, she has potentially 30 customers coming in and converting, right? So that's 30 new customers. Okay, new customers. All I'm gonna basically do is take that 30, okay, and basically times that by 50. So I'm gonna add a new line. So 30 customers, X times, let's say $50 for an online session. Let's see. Well, she's gonna do it for in-person at 50. Let's just say she wants to charge like $25 for her online Zoom sessions, right? Because it's 50, she could charge 50, but she's gonna maybe start off at 25, okay? So she's gonna have about 500 there, 30 customers at $25 a month, right? So 30 customers times $25 a month on Zoom sessions. Okay. So per session, okay, that's going to equal about $750. Okay. That means that Joy, if she has a successful conversion rate, right, out of those 1,000, and her regular 50, I know based on just those ballpark figures that 500 plus 750 is going to equal about $1,250, okay? So, and that's just putting it conservatively, right? And that's like super starting out. She could be charging 50, 75, or 100, so it goes higher. But let's just say she's starting out ballpark. At 20%, $1,250 times 0.2%, so 1,250 times 0, that's 2%, I'm sorry, 0.20%. I'm gonna charge her anywhere up to like $250 for that. So yeah, so 0.2 by 250. So it's like, it could be $250 for that job starting out, okay, at 20%. or 10% of that, which is about 100, 150 or so. Okay, 125. So you can charge her $250 for that ad or project based on where she's starting out. Okay, now, oh yeah, Precious, you can, yeah, go for it. I mean, you can enter that number there. So you can go that direction, so that's fine. But those are conservative numbers, right? If we were to Google what the actual fees are, I mean, she could be 75, but these numbers can go up, right? So what do you think Joey's gonna wanna do in the future? Well, if she can only put 10 people in her garage, but she can put an unlimited number of people on Zoom, and all she needs to do is increase her followers on Instagram, that conversion rate just goes up, right? So just imagine, like, if she just doubles that to 2,000 followers, right? Then that's 60 new customers at 25. That's $1,500 right there. For the Zoom session, then she doesn't have to do in person anymore for 500. Does that make sense? This is why online is so appealing, because all she has to do is just put up a picture and post, and the psychology, yeah, Giovanni, go for it. And the psychology, we're already done, Giovanni, so you're done. This is the final slide, so you're ready to rock, okay? And you can turn it in tonight or tomorrow. So, but this is the psychology, okay, guys? So if I know a couple of you guys have your own online businesses, right? If this is where you are in your business, then all you have to do is, because I think Alexis has her own business. Alexis, are you here tonight? No, I don't think she's here. So basically, the idea there is that you can, if you increase your following, then you just have more customers that are likely going to convert. Okay, and again, that's all dependent on how active you are on social media. So if you really think about it, businesses want you to be stuck to your phone a lot, because the more you're scrolling through your phone mindlessly, the more you're getting to see people, and the more you build trust. Okay, the more you get used to that, then that becomes the thing, right? And so that's why these businesses want you to stay on your phone, because if I can guarantee, let's say I'm Instagram, if I can guarantee my customer, if I can guarantee my customer that, hey, the people that are on my platform, which is Instagram, are looking at their phone 50, 60 times a day, that's 50, 60 times that I can get a customer converted, right? Like it's a crazy business model that nobody wants to give up. This is why social media is so hard to take down or change, because the money that's to be made, like businesses don't want that, right? So it's a really powerful thing when you're owning businesses and advertising, but it's also turning into like a very addictive thing too, and you have to be mindful of that as well. But again, who am I to take away somebody's business and their livelihood, right? So it turns into like a bigger social issue. Nonetheless, I don't want to grapple with the ethics of things, but nonetheless, designers do become a bit of a player, right? Because Joy did call me, and she did ask me to change her logo, right? And this is a real business, a legit business, and yeah, and basically Joy did really create this, right? So she does have a site called Joyful Fitness, and she targets her audience are moms, and their moms in La Mirada. And I said, Joy, how many followers you have? And it's like, oh, I have 1,000 followers. I haven't checked how many followers she has right now, but gosh, I mean, let's find out. Let's see what the numbers are here, and then I'll give you guys some time to work there. I think I have the right handle. Oh, it's not available. Okay. All right. There she is, Joyful Fitness Zoom workouts. So she has 4,800 followers. So that's Joy, that's her business. And yeah, look, she even She has her website, 9-week challenge, and Zoom workouts. Okay. So that's how, yeah, there you go, Precious. They try to build up those followers and convert, right? So yeah, so she has 4,000 followers right there. So if I had to be like, strategic here, and see how she kind of does that, I mean, let's just do the numbers, right? And if Joy, you're watching this, I love you. We enjoy Joyful Fitness. So if she has 4,000 followers, going back to the sheet, right? Then yeah, let's just do the math, right? 0.03 times 4,000, I think it was 4,400 something followers. That's 132 potential conversions right there at $25 a session. That's $3,000. That's $3,000 that she's making off a Zoom session. Okay. So one Zoom session, 30 people log on. That's $3,000. That's crazy. And all she's doing is sitting in her garage Zooming, right? So at the end of the day, she can scale successfully, and all she has to do is just engage and build her following. Does that make sense, guys? So if you have your online business and you have an Instagram, the goal would be to grow your followers, engage, and offer something that is so great an offer that people will want to convert, okay? Because your potential is 3%, okay? All right, I'm gonna shut up about that so I can let you guys carry it on. Okay, how do we turn this in? Okay, let's turn this assignment in. Now, when you turn it in, I highly recommend to change the sharing status. So we're gonna go up to, I'm gonna walk you through this so you can turn it in, okay? First thing we wanna do is that we're gonna hit the share button so we can get a link. So we're gonna tap it, we're gonna press share. And then you're gonna go down to copy the link. But before you do that, you're gonna change the link view to anyone. So if you're on private mode, just go here to the left and click on to change. And change the status of this to anyone with the link. So you'll tap onto the button there, and if it says restricted, because it's kind of Rio Hondo, change it to anyone with the link. Okay, unfortunately, I don't have a Rio Hondo email. I have a Microsoft email, but not a Gmail. So I can't access Gmail to Gmail. So the only way to do it is to use my personal Gmail. I'm working that out. We'll figure it out. But basically, that's why I'm having you guys do it to anyone. Somehow someone thought that we should keep email Microsoft and have everyone else on Gmail. I don't know why. So we're going to change the link to anyone with the link. Okay. And once you go anyone with the link, then you click onto the copy link button. Okay. So copy that link, copy, boom. And then you can hit done at the bottom right, because you've already made a copy of that link. And then you go back to Canvas, which is like our Google Classroom for college, I like to call it. Yeah, Precious, you can use your personal one as long as you can, open up the sharing features. You should be okay there, okay? So just remember to share and make it open to anyone with the link, okay? Just to keep it a little bit easier, but technically the Rio Hondo one will be the one to use. Okay, and then when you're ready to paste the link, you're gonna go to start assignment here on the upper right-hand side. Start assignment. And then at the very bottom here, you will see the uploader, and it's gonna say, hey, would you like to file upload, text entry, or website URL? You can do text entry. I would just go website URL because it is technically a website link. And click on the website URL. And right here in this little field, you can click and paste your link into that, or right click your mouse and paste, or click and paste. Whichever way, go ahead and paste it in. and push the submit button right underneath that. Okay. Okay, once you hit submit, then it's going to process, and it should technically say with a nice big explosion, hooray, you've successfully submitted your assignment. Okay. And if you made a mistake, you can always just press the new attempt and do it again if you thought the link was incorrect or something of that sort. Okay. So that is how you turn in your assignments, guys. That's how it's going to be on the average. Okay. And so that's that part. Does that sound good, everyone? Does that make sense? You can give me a little thumbs up emoji. So you've already completed this assignment. Now you just have to turn it in for the habit assignment. Okay. So based on what I'm seeing, okay, let me just leave student view and I'll just see who's in there. Now, if you didn't change your share settings on your habit assignment, you don't have to repost the link. All you have to do is go back to the assignment and change the setting, okay? So if you change the setting, it's still the same link. That's the beauty of these links. They've never changed. You can change the status on Google, but you don't have to resubmit it. Okay, so who do we have that's turned in week number 1, the power of habit activity? Now, let's just go into it so I can just assess it.
Question about that
Yes,
activity. Is it just 2 habits or 3?
It's 2 habits.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
So the 2 is there. So so right now we have about 14 submissions, so a little bit over half the class. Okay. Did I grade it? No, I haven't finished grading them, but I do show that I have some submissions there. So based on the submissions that I have, go to speed grader. If I click on the upper right hand side, basically on the upper right hand side, which is slide 37 there, let's just go to that really quick. I'll see it on my end over here, and you can resubmit those last 2 slides too, but it's going to be the last 2 slides technically, which is this. Yeah. Okay. So we have those. So that's great. So basically I have, so Angel, I have yours. Connor, I have yours. Okay. Alexis, James, Philip, I show yours. So if it has like an orange dot on the upper right-hand side, that means I have yours. Okay. Mr. Green, I have yours. Dominic, Kaiser, Alexis, Nydia, Sylvia, Giovanni, Eric. I have your assignments. Danielle, I have your assignment here. So it has posted, okay? If the link is not shared, then be on the lookout between now and next week for possibly a message saying, oh, the professor requested to unlock access. So that's the idea, okay? But everyone else here, basically you're still working on it. You still want to get those in by sharing your link. So you're gonna basically do the exact same thing for the habits exercise and share it, okay? And I'm gonna give you guys time now to do that, okay? There's a good little under an hour left, okay? So to work on this, it's basically have an hour to work on it. So that's easy for 2 slides, and you can turn it in and upload it from there, okay? So that's it, guys. That basically is gonna conclude the designer therapy unit. And I'm gonna give you guys time tonight to work on your assignments. Next week, we're going to be jumping into principles of design. So next Tuesday, I'm gonna show you guys, principles of design. So that's gonna actually be, and I'm actually gonna launch this right now so at least you guys can preview it a little bit. So that way you can get a little visual for it. But principles of design, I'm gonna show you how designers see works of art, okay? So how do designers see, how do I see? I'm gonna give that to you, okay? So these are the archive videos from last semester, but I've already posted principles of design, so you can get a little preview for next week. Discussion question, what makes a design successful? Activity, elements, principles of design. This one's gonna go deep. We're gonna create a presentation where you select 10 images and you're gonna write a really extensive breakdown on the principles of design for that, but I'm gonna teach you how I see it according to those principles, okay? So it's a theory, it's a lot of theory, and then after we do that, we're gonna get into Adobe Illustrator and we're gonna do the technicals after that, okay? So I spend the first, month of class going through designer therapy, money, right? Habits, how to see like a designer. We do all the theoretical stuff in the very front, empower you guys, and then we get into the technicals after that, and it's gonna feel like a workout at the gym. Okay. Couple of questions there. It's kind of hard to find our assignments. I was wondering if there's a way to make it easier to figure out which assignments and which aren't. So Precious, the answer to that is look under, it's under activity, okay? So if I go to student view, assignments or activities, or should I just change it to assignments? Is that gonna be easier for you guys if I just change the word from activity to assignment? Does that make more sense for everybody? Okay, all right, that's fine. I mean, the discussion is still kind of like a mini assignment, so you get points for that. But I will change activity to assignment, and then that way everyone knows which is which, okay? But basically, it's just like week 3 or 4 on my screen here. It's a discussion and an activity, and that's it. So you always have a discussion, you always have an assignment, and you always have videos related to that, okay? And yes, the due dates are weird, so I'm gonna change those due dates right now as we speak. So I'll make those changes and I will start punching those in, and the due date will not be end of next week, but it will be 2 weeks from next Tuesday. So it's going to take a little time to put that all together, but I will change the due date for this once I leave student view and get that going. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and make those changes. All right. So I will make those changes. I will change the due dates as well. And it'll basically be 2 weeks from next Tuesday when it will be due. Okay, guys? All right. Feel free to stick around and ask me any questions, issues, or concerns that you might have regarding anything we talked about, or any of the assignments, or anything you want to suggest for me to do, make things better. I am open right now to talk about those things. And Alexa, if you joined us and you're coming from the high school, let me set up a breakout room so we can talk privately, and we can in just a few moments as well. Okay, so then so we can get you situated, and you can give me a little thumbs up for that. All right, guys. So you guys are officially dismissed. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'm happy that we got through almost our first month. So be safe. We'll see you next week, and price high if anyone asks you to do a project for them. Okay. So you're all set. Okay, we'll see you then.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Have a good night, Alexa. Have a good night, guys. We'll see you then.
Thank you,
All right,
Professor.
have a good week, Professor.
You too, guys. Be safe. See you then. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop the recording here, and then we'll get that going. So stop recording.